It certainly is. I wanted to start with some interesting news. Paul O'Keefe, who is very well connected at Tottenham, has stated in the last hour or so that the Bayern Munich attacker, and again, depending on who you talk to, some say he's a wide player, some say he's a striker. We'll get into that in more detail. The young attacker Tell, who has been linked with an exit, has now decided he wants to leave Bayern Munich. Chelsea, of course, have been linked. The reports in Germany say he doesn't want to go to Chelsea. He feels there's too much competition ahead of him. Spurs are interested. There's some links from the Independent this afternoon to Arsenal. But Paul O'Keefe has said that the player wants to join Manchester United. Before we get on to whether or not you think who he's going to join, how good is this young man? And do you think it would be the right type of move for a Man United, for an Arsenal, to go for him at this particular juncture?
This move is quite interesting because actually, I'll take it a step further. Tell has actually been linked to everyone, including my club, including quite literally. If you just open new tab and write Tell Liverpool, Tell City, Tell whoever, like you will find the link because you know this whole conversation regarding him, regarding him leaving Bayern has been obviously been going on for a while now. This is not a new thing. He's been thinking about it. He's the same guy that scored a goal as well, I think, against Man United in the Champions League.
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
a year ago? Yeah, it was a year ago in the group stages. He was the guy that scored the winner at the end after Bruno scored one, I think it was. So he's the guy that got it. And at the end of the day, listen, I'm just going to be completely honest here and objective. Obviously, I am not a Bundesliga fan or a viewer of the Bundesliga. So anytime when we have a chance to watch something, maybe in the Champions League or a game here and there, if it's on in the background or something, he's versatile as a forward, which I think is something that's very intriguing to the people. He's very as in the clubs looking at him, very physical, quite tall as well, like he's 6 foot and he's very fast. So from a pace and power perspective, he will not struggle in the Premier League at all, so on the counter attack, he'll be very good. And I think he suits all clubs. He suits Chelsea on the left-hand side. He suits Arsenal on the left-hand side. He literally suits every single club. He suits Liverpool. There is no club that wouldn't benefit from having him. However, I will say he's too young still, meaning what you're buying is potential. There might be some form of short-term impact, of course. I'm not saying he's not going to make an impact at all. I'm saying, let's say he joins whoever. In these next 6 months, he could get you, let's say, 8 goals and 7 assists, 8 goals and 6 assists. So he will have some form of an impact, but you're buying for the future because he's still quite young. He's born in 2005, so he's just 20 years old. So he's quite young, and has a lot of development still left to go, to be honest with you. But he's a very talented player, very good player. And he's quite versatile, which I think should be interesting. I actually think if Man United do get him, I have an unpopular opinion. I think you're looking at playing him in that left-hand side 10 thing that Amarim does, just right behind the strikers. I think that's where we're playing him, to be honest with you. That's the position that makes sense. In terms of Spurs, listen, I'm going to just go ahead and say this. Look, whether it's Tell, whether it's any young player with a future, whatever it is, I'm not even trying to be condescending. Genuinely, you have to stay away from that club. If you go to Spurs, you have genuinely buried your career like no other. And it pains me to say, because there are some Spurs players that are quite likable, like a Son as an example. It's so sad to see that Son is gonna have a whole career without a single trophy just because he played for that football club. Liverpool are long-term admirers of Son. We could have signed him, I think 4 years ago. We tried as well. So, if he goes to Spurs, he's just buried his career, to be honest with you. So I think Man United is probably a good choice at the start of the rebuild because he has time to develop and make mistakes and maybe score for 3 games in a row and then not score for 3 games in a row, and it's not a disaster type thing. So yeah, I think
we know when yesterday in the group, the Street Facts group was Don, Lolis, and all these guys, and KJ, and So yesterday, someone said that he rejected Chelsea, and once KJ sent us the tweet that he preferred that Man United are leading the race, all I can think of for everyone in the chat is why would the player? Is there something that we don't know? Why would the player choose Man United over Chelsea at this current moment? And I'm I keep trying to see a reason why behind it. And I'm it's the only reason. I'm being serious. And forget big club, Terry. Why are you laughing, bro? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
We're Man United. We're the biggest club in the world.
Can you let me at least? Don't throw me off. Don't throw me off.
Sorry. I'll speak in a minute. It's funny what you're saying.
Yes, please. And all I
That
can
is laughing
think of,
at the idea of Don sat there just thinking that United is
because
going.
Don literally started defending. You see, where did he reject Chelsea? Until I think Giuseppe or somebody sent him the tweet that he rejected Chelsea. And the only thing I can think of is that when you sit with a player, everyone knows that people sit with players. They send people to sit with the player, convince him of project. Like, what we don't know about Chelsea probably, has he seen what Chelsea are doing, signing young players and flipping them for profit? And he's like, no, I'm going to join Man United. Maybe Amarim presented me a good path. Maybe Amarim presented me a good project going forward.
I'll be honest with you.
Maybe he presented me something that you're going to be one of the people that we rely on in the
them
future.
selling the youngster after like a year. And stuff.
Yes. Look at like the flip for profit thing that is happening at Chelsea. And I'm like, Man United, are we talking today? Chelsea are 6, Man United are 12. Are we talking today about Man United being a more stable crop for youngsters than Chelsea? That's the only explanation why a player. I have no other explanation than Manchester.
I can give you another realistic explanation from the other side.
Because let me put the context in for the people in the chat, not for you, because I know that you guys, both of you know this. Because looking at today, Chelsea are closer to winning titles than Man United. That's just a fact.
Of course.
That's a fact. Nobody can deny that. Chelsea have a more ready team to win trophies. Chelsea maybe need, as Hussam mentioned many times, 2 or 3 people to be competitive to challenge for the Premier League next season. But Man United need a rebuild. But unless Chelsea cannot sell the projects anymore, cannot convince a 20 years old from Bayern Munich, a French international, to join their club, there is something hidden there that Man United has above Chelsea, and it's stability. Even though we all agree maybe Chelsea have a better team, Man United are a more stable club at the current moment, which is I don't like Man United. That's a reality.
Yeah. Can I just say on this as well, right? I laugh because you said I couldn't think of a reason. And again, what I love about you is if people give you reasons that you don't like, you don't often see them as credible. But that's a by the by. With Chelsea, it's a number of things. What I loved, I was reading the group chat. I was in the gym, and I was watching. I saw like KJ and Co. I think this may have been in the other the content creator, the other Football Terrace group chat. But they were stating, look, there are 2 or 3 separate reports from Germany that Mathys Tel doesn't want to go to Chelsea. One doesn't give you a reason. The other 2 allude to the fact that he thinks there's too much competition ahead of him. And maybe what Chelsea's representatives have said is that you'll be behind Jackson or behind Sancho and Neto, and you've got to fight your way through. Maybe Man United have said, we will make you a first-team starter from day one. So that makes sense. But what I loved about the group chat was, even though the group were all saying, no, of course Chelsea can change his mind, but just right now it looks like he's rejected them. That wasn't being listened to by Don and Ches. They were just like, well, why are you saying we can't get him? No one said you can't get him. They're just saying that right now he's saying no. And what I also loved is they've painted this picture that you give an example. It weren't even that long ago that Chelsea fans like Don were arguing that there was more to the game of Mihajlo Mudryk than Martinelli. Okay. So based on that, right? They were also saying, well, because Arsenal linked to him, well, how's he going to get into the Arsenal team? Why would he go for them and not go for us? How's he going to get in the Arsenal team if he can't get into our team? Well, I thought your attackers were better than Arsenal's. And this is where people's arguments come to like a bit of a crossroads. Yeah. So
you just contradicted yourself, you know.
You have a better attack than Arsenal, but you can't see why a player like Tel thinks he can get into their team easier. Well, that means one of 2 things aren't true here. For Man United, look, I like the young lad. He's a really talented player, got great athleticism, got good speed, good close control, decent finisher. I would say the one thing, I was looking at some stuff of him yesterday, reading some scouting reports, shots from outside the box and distance, not particularly great. I wouldn't say he's a brilliant dribbler from deep, but he's very good when he gets into that sort of in and around the final third and he's kind of running in diagonally at the goal. I also think he wants to be more central, and that's why I feel that he could be a very good fit for Amarim's system. We haven't seen Amarim's system in full flow yet because we don't have fullbacks who can consistently bomb up and down the wing, who can be defenders when we're defending and can be full-on attackers when we're attacking. What that will mean when we get the fullbacks that do that is that the 10s that split won't have to hug the touchline as much. They will tuck into more central roles, and I think that's where you might see someone like Tel come alive. So I'm excited by the idea, but he's also a youngster. So the same as young Patrick Dorgu. I'm not looking at either of these players as our savior, our new hero, the new main man at Manchester United. For me, that is crazy talk. And I know a lot of people want more experience, and I want more experience at the club. However, and I'll make sure I word this in the right way, January isn't the summer. And I still think we're going to go in big for Gyökeres in the summer as an example. So having a young player like Tel come in now, and then in the summer, somebody like Gyökeres coming in as an example, and then you see one of or both of our current strikers leave, I'm not against that. So I'm not going to get too hepped up on, we're not getting exactly what we need, number one priority straight away in January. That's so typical for the situation that we're in. But I hope we get him. I hope the news from Paul O'Keefe is true. I think it would give us him and young Patrick, what that would give us that we lack so much of right now is real electrifying and scary pace. And we miss that in this team. Does it fix us? Does it make us able to be one of the best teams in the Prem? Absolutely not. Are they our heroes at the age that they're coming in at? Absolutely not. United fans have got to temper their expectations there. But I look at both signings and there's good technique, good power, good athleticism, good acceleration, massive things that our team miss. So